Hey everyone, I'm finally back. After the long wait, I finally have more Peoplescraft for you guys, covering episodes 13 to 26. So, since you guys probably haven't seen part 1 for at least a month, I should quickly recap what's happened in part 1. But if you haven't seen part 1 at all, I recommend you go watch that first. So, here's the recap. In the first chapter of Peoplescraft, we struggled to survive. We were constantly in a food crisis and barely had any armor, making it really hard to survive. We built a house on top of the mountain where each of us got our own section of it. It would slowly grow larger and larger throughout the series. In the second chapter, we mostly got full iron gear and mined the first diamonds, so the pace of progression began to pick up. We had started to better establish our nation by introducing a new currency system and national flag. But there was also a lot of peril. Creepers kept on blowing things up, and we died on a lot of our expeditions. But everything changed when we finally built our Nether portal. After I died in the Nether, and a witch killed all of us with poison, I mysteriously lost my diamond pickaxe. This caused me to rage quit, and that's where we left off. So, let's continue our adventure now in Peoplescraft.
Let's go!
From episodes 13 to 17, a massive expedition took place in the neighboring desert and savanna biomes of our homeland. On these adventures, we got lots of good loot and knowledge of our general area. Episode 13 was titled Healing. This was because I needed to recover from the incidents of the previous episode. So, we ran into another witch, as if the massacre from the last episode wasn't enough. And I got down to half a heart. But I managed to kill her, and she dropped a potion of healing, so I used it to heal myself. Also, Creature Thing 68 built a house right in the middle of town. Kinda weird. Anyway, I went out into the forest to collect chickens. My goal was to start a chicken pen, and that took an absurdly long amount of time. Also, Jimmy tamed a new pet wolf and planted 2 new adopted children of Gary the Tree, named Harold and Jeff. In the end, I made a really long strip mine for some reason. I don't know why. And that was the end of the episode. Episode number 14 was called Expanding the Nether, for obvious reasons. We were expanding our control of the Nether, which started with us building a little stone brick hut around the Nether portal. We also did some piglin trading. And at the very end, in the overworld, we ran into a pillager patrol. And that's all that happened in episode 14. Episode 15 was called Adventure Time. In the beginning, I found a wolf in the forest, tamed him, and named him Doug. Doug the dog. After that, we did a bunch of boring chores. Then I went into the Nether to aimlessly explore caves that had literally nothing of interest. We began collecting food and supplies so we could go on an adventure in the forest later. While I did that, a creeper exploded inside of Jimmy's house, or shop, and that made us really angry.
We will make the creepers pay once and for all.
Yes.
Night.
Yes.
Yeah. Creepers are annoying,
Night.
honestly.
At the very end, I took my boat up by the river and eventually found access to the ocean and another abandoned village. The abandoned village, which we eventually named the City of Oof, had a lot of resources, so that was good. Eventually, Luna and Jimmy came over also, and then the recording ended. Episode 16 was called Perilous Adventures, and for the entire episode, we were away from home. It started with me wandering alone in the forest. After a while, I found a desert biome and a savanna biome. But in the desert, I finally found a village that wasn't abandoned. After that, I went back to the City of Oof to meet up with Jimmy. We then went over to a hill in the savannah to meet up with Luna. Along the way, Jimmy found a desert temple. On the other side of the hill, we met up with Luna, we found the edge of the continents, and we found a ruined portal. After that, we got some boats and went exploring the ocean. We also found a tiny ice biome. When we started to go back home, we got separated, which led to me being kind of lost. Then, night fell, and it started raining. Out of fear of monsters, I dug myself into a hidey hole to stay for the night. And that's where the recording ended. Episode the 17th was called Jackpot. I got out of my hidey hole and walked for a long time. Eventually, I was met with a swamp lake and rode my boat through it for a while. Eventually, I got home and then began to build my new store called Porter Stop, Porter being my real name. During that process, I accidentally fell to my death.
I really like stone bricks. They make your house look really cool. I mean, they make your place look. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, guys, I just died. I'm falling. Don't.
Yeah, you.
It's easy to get
Don't
your
touch my
stuff.
Don't
She's
touch it,
fine.
okay? Please don't touch
I
it.
won't touch it. I won't touch it.
Oh, there's your stuff. I don't know if I can get.
Then I went mining for a while, and I had obtained 8 diamonds. This greatly raised my morale, and I had gone for about 3.5 videos without owning any diamonds. So this is the reason this episode was called Jackpot. When I returned home, I crafted a diamond helmet, anvil, and diamond sword. I used the anvil to name my iron sword Excalibur and my diamond sword Infinity Sword. In my honest opinion, both of these names are really stupid, but I couldn't think of anything better, so that's what I picked. And that was the end of the episode. Anyways, let's jump into the next chapter of Peoplescraft history.
Go, go, go!
From episodes 18 to 22, we went on a few small journeys underground in the Nether and the surrounding area of People's Land. Episode 18 was called Untitled Episode, the sequel, because it was extremely boring. And we spent most of the episode doing boring Minecraft chores, like tending to boring farms, boring mining, and managing boring item storage. For the first part of the episode, Luna is gone for some reason. I went mining and found some new caves and eventually found some gold and redstone. But halfway through the video, Luna returned. So Jimmy and Luna worked on making a water elevator going up to the house on the mountain. When I returned to the surface and began doing more house chores, a weird lighting glitch caused our entire shared house to go into shadow. But when I opened a chest, the lighting just magically went back to normal. Eventually, I finished building my new store, stocked it with overpriced and overvalued items, and ended the recording. Episode the 19th was called Untitled Episode 3. Yep, I was getting really creative with these names. Anyway, it started with me exploring more caves near our nether base. I mined up a bunch of gold in the caves, and then went back to base to trade with piglins. When I got back to the overworld, I ran into the infamous lighting bug again. Then, people began to buy my stuff at my new shop. Near the end of the video, I went on a weird little adventure. I walked along the river that goes by our mountain, and passed by a waterfall I weirdly named Cake Falls. Then, I passed by the city of Oof, and then stopped at the desert temple. I pilfered all the TNT that Jimmy did take from the temple, then wandered around for a while. Finally, I stopped at the desert village I had found previously, and that's where the video ended. Episode 20 was called Short Episode, as it was only 30 minutes long, which is about half as long as the average Peoplescraft video. Sometime around this video, Luna started building a new farm behind the nether portal. As the videos go on, that farm slowly gets bigger and bigger. Also, Jimmy was gone for the video. As I continued to explore, I found both a swamp and a taiga biome. In the swamp, I found a witch hut, but it was useless. I walked around in a dark forest biome near our house for a while, and found the original box of wood I cowered in from the very first episode. In fact, that wood box is still here today. So, when I got back home, we got a good view of the work in progress water elevator. Also, Katsuruni made some progress on flattening out the main area of Peoplestown. And that's when Katsuruni had to log off, so we ended the video. Episode 21 was titled Lonely Episode, and it was the first episode to have only me in it. Because of that, the video was recorded using the Samsung video recorder instead of a shared screen in Skype. So, the video quality was significantly better. Also, there was no voice commentary. For the first half of the video, I worked on digging a bridge across a lake of lava in the Nether. This was so I could get to a small warped forest island on the other side. But I gave up on that project for some reason, and went to do some mining in the overworld instead. Then I ended the video. It was really short. Episode 22 was titled Panic Button, and it was the first video to have a creative name after 4 uncreative names. In Panic Button, Luna finally finished making the water elevator, which was very useful for getting up the mountain. After that, I went to wander about the forests and found a little cave that had a lot of iron. During this time, Jimmy Sparkles also went exploring, intending to find a woodland mansion. He eventually found a new village with a pillager outpost right next to it. We later gave the name Pillage Town to it. As I was doing lots of boring, unimportant stuff, Jimmy was trying to infiltrate the pillager outpost. He got to the bad omen effect pretty quickly, and then I got bored of mining and decided to go over to the outpost. Back at the base, Luna worked on removing the excess structures and creeper holes from the center of Peoplestown. While I was on my way to the outpost, Jimmy was assassinated by a pillager. Unfortunately, because he had broken the bed he took on the trip, he respawned back at the world spawn instead of the far-off outpost. So, to help him out, I began to sprint over to the village. Eventually, we were both at the village, so Jimmy got his stuff back, and together we ransacked the outpost. Then, I started going back home without Jimmy, but when I got back, he was lost, so I borrowed Luna's horse and went to rescue Jimmy. This was unsuccessful, and he also got blown up by a creeper. I had to cross a river in a dense forest on the way home, so I abandoned Luna's horse. On my way back, Jimmy found a pink sheep in the wild, which is extremely rare, and he named it Pinky. So he began to lead it back home over hundreds of blocks. And that was the end of both the episode and this chapter of Peoplescraft. Chapter 5 was a short time of festivities. This included the baking of a cake, my 12th birthday, and a whole lot of shenanigans. So, let's get into it. Episode 23 was titled Party Time, which was the name that only fitted the ending of the episode. In the beginning, I got a horse and began to trek out to the city of Oof. From there, I went out to the desert and eventually got to the Savannah Hill that had the ruined portal. Along the way, I ditched my horse because I couldn't get him across the river. Back at home, Jimmy eventually got Pinky the sheep to our base and tied him up to a fence post. Also, Luna chopped down Harold and Jeff in an effort to clean out our town's flat area. I'm not sure if she realized that she was killing the adopted children of Gary, which is illegal. But oh well. I had brought some obsidian blocks, so I used them to try and repair the portal. Unfortunately, I didn't have a diamond pickaxe, so I wasn't able to completely repair it. So, I had to walk the whole way back home. On the way back, I stopped by a cave and did a bunch of mining, and then went back home. At home, I decided to bake a cake to celebrate both my birthday and Jimmy's birthday, which were both coming up soon. So, I gathered the resources, and then we crafted a cake. We also made a little table to put it on. But before we could eat the cake, we had to lose energy so Minecraft would allow us to eat it. Once we finally got hungry enough, we ate the cake. When it got dark, we tried to have a fireworks show, but it was interrupted by a spider jockey. The next day, I worked on building a railroad, but it was really crappy and slower than walking, so nobody ever used it. And then the episode ended. Episode 24, dubbed Another Lonely Day, was another solo episode. I made some stylish new decorations for the party table, which was literally the only interesting thing that happened. So I will just skip the rest. Episode 25 was a very special episode. It was my birthday. So we called it Wither Day. And this recording is also special because it was 2 hours long. But for some reason, Jimmy wasn't in it for the first 30 minutes. So the episode began with me finding monsters spawning in creeper holes that we quote unquote patched up. Then we had a bunch of technical difficulties that made Luna unable to join the world. But I eventually fixed it. We did some goofing around, and then I did a bit of mining. 36 minutes into the recording, Jimmy finally joined our Skype call. But he couldn't actually join the game because his internet was being weird. So he was just commentating on this episode. I also mass-produced wood with the help of some saplings and bone meal, which provided a lot of resources. I then built a second floor to my house, which held tons of chests full of unorganized junk. Later, Luna surprised me with a new game she made. It's called Hot Potato. Basically, someone has to drop the potato and make you pick it up, and then you have to do it to someone else. Then, I got bored, so I logged off Minecraft and started playing Terraria instead, because why not? So, Luna left, and then Jimmy began to instruct me on how to play Terraria, as this was my first time. And then, at the very end, I switched to playing Geometry Dash, also for the first time. And then the recording ended. Episode 26 was called Enchanted Hot Potato, and didn't have Jimmy in it for some reason. In the Hot Potato game, Luna had changed the rules so only one person get tagged per episode. So, Luna and I played some Hot Potato, I massacred a bunch of trees, and then I made a trade with Luna. I gave her half of my items from my store, my diamond helmet, and a stack of redstone for 1 measly diamond. This was quite the scam, but oh well. In the end, it was worth it because I got to make an enchanting table with it. I placed it on this weird canopy floor of the house and used it to enchant my diamond sword. Later, Luna put all of her items in a chest and started dying on purpose.
Okay, just a little backwards, just a little more. Just a little back more.
I
Just a little back more. Just a little back more. There we go.
Oh man, I really hate third person front for reals though.
Yeah.
Then, she tamed a wolf and later named it Hot Dog. Then, we both went on an adventure, which really didn't go anywhere. So, we went home, and I changed law number 7 to say that all mined redstone goes to the bank, instead of just 10% of mined iron. And that was the end of the video, and the end of this chapter of Peoplescraft. And it's also the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Just like the last one, it took over a month to write, voiceover, and edit. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If anything seemed inconsistent or was incorrect in the video, just let me know. And, just like I said last time, I'm not sure when I'll make part 3. I have a lot of other things going on in my life. I have 3 different friends who have invited me to 3 different Minecraft servers. So, it's kind of chaotic. So, part 3 whatever? I don't know. See you guys later.